Subscribe to my YouTube channel, share it with your friends, and comment your thoughts. She stood in the grand hall, the heavy crystal chandelier trembling above her head. Then, without warning, it crashed down, glass shards exploding like frozen stars around her. Her breath caught in her throat, and the guests around her screamed, scrambling away, but all she could see was the blood-stained note clenched tightly in her hand. A single word stared back at her: betrayed. The door creaked open slowly behind her. She didn't turn. Her heart pounded wildly, pounding harder than the chaos that surrounded her. The elite, dressed in their glittering gowns and tailored suits, were whispering behind her back. They had mocked her, called her naive, simple, unworthy, but none of them had seen this coming. Not yet. Is this the best the little nobody can do? A cold voice sneered from the corner. She finally turned her head. The man standing there was the son of a powerful billionaire, the very symbol of the elite's cruelty. His smirk was sharp, like a knife ready to cut deeper. "You should leave before you make a bigger fool of yourself," he said. But she didn't move. Not anymore. Because tonight wasn't just about humiliation. It was about something much darker. Something buried beneath years of silence and smiles. Her name was Maya. For years she had stayed quiet. A simple woman from a small town, working as an assistant at one of the biggest investment firms on Wall Street. Nobody cared about her. Nobody listened, except him, the king of Wall Street. But that was a secret for now. Maya's eyes darted down, to the note again. Who had left it there, and why? Before she could think more, her phone buzzed. One message, two messages, three. The third was a video, a screen full of betrayal. Her husband, the man she trusted more than anyone, was kissing another woman in the very hospital where their baby had just died. Pain exploded inside her chest, sharper than the chandelier's fall. Tears blurred her vision, but she wiped them away quickly. She wasn't going to cry in front of these people, not anymore. "Fee," whispers grew louder. "You don't belong here," someone hissed, but Maya's voice was steady when she finally spoke. "I don't belong here," she said, "because I'm not who you think I am." And with that she turned and walked out, the shattered glass crunching under her heels. Outside, the city lights flickered like stars lost in a dark sky. She had one phone call to make, one man who might change everything. Because when the king of Wall Street heard about this night, nothing would ever be the same again. The cold night air bit into Maya's skin as she stepped out of the grand hall, her heels clicking sharply against the marble steps. Her mind raced faster than her footsteps, betrayal, loss, humiliation, swirling into a storm she didn't know how to calm. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was a message from an unknown number. "Meet me, midnight, Pier 14, come alone." Her fingers trembled, but she didn't hesitate. Who else would send a message like this but him, the one person she feared and hoped for in the same breath, the king of Wall Street, the man she never expected to reach out. Maya's life had been a series of quiet battles, overlooked at work, mocked in social circles, ignored by her husband even as she buried her pain deep inside. But this was different. This was an invitation into a game where the stakes were higher than she had ever imagined. She arrived at Pier 14 just as the clock struck midnight. The docks were deserted except for a lone figure waiting in the shadows. "Why am I here?" she asked, her voice steady despite the pounding in her chest. He stepped forward, Alexander Gray, tall, impeccably dressed, with eyes that seemed to see right through her. "You deserve to know the truth, Maya," he said quietly. "But first, you need to trust me." She hesitated, memories flashing through her mind. The humiliations, the lies, the endless nights crying alone. "Why now?" she whispered. "Because the people who destroyed you are closer than you think," Alexander replied. "And if we don't act fast, they'll ruin everything, including you." Maya's hands clenched into fists. For the first time in years, she felt something more powerful than fear, determination. Tell me everything. The next hours passed in a blur of revelations. Alexander revealed secrets about the elite's plans to sabotage her. The conspiracy involving her husband and a hidden fortune that wasn't just money, but power. Maya listened, her mind struggling to grasp the depth of betrayal. "Why help me?" she asked finally. "Because I've been watching you, Maya. You're stronger than you realize, and you deserve better than the poison they fed you." For the first time, a flicker of hope ignited in her heart, but then came the twist. A message from her husband, sent to her phone just moments before. "Stay away from Alexander. He's not who you think." The words hit her like a punch to the gut. Was Alexander a savior, or just another player in the game? Back at the penthouse, Maya's world twisted further. She found a hidden letter in her husband's drawer, a letter from someone named Evelyn, threatening to expose a secret that could shatter everything. Her hands shook as she read, "If you don't stop her, I will." Maya realized the real enemy was not just the elite mocking her simplicity. It was the dark web of lies and deceit she had unknowingly stepped into. That night, Maya sat alone in the dim light, phone in hand. Trust no one. Revenge was no longer a choice. It was her only path. She whispered into the silence, "I will rise. They will regret underestimating me." Cliffhanger ending. As Maya's phone buzzed again, she froze. This time, the message was a photo of her, taken without her knowledge, standing in the ruins of the shattered chandelier, and beneath it, the words, "We're watching." Maya sat in her dimly lit apartment, the weight of every secret pressing down on her like an anchor. The photograph on her phone's screen glared up at her, her face caught mid-shock, taken without her knowledge. The words beneath it taunted her, "We're watching." She wasn't just a pawn in some cruel game. She was the target. Her breath hitched as her mind flashed back to Alexander Gray, the man who had promised her the truth, but now seemed shrouded in shadows as much as the enemies surrounding her. Could she trust him? The question echoed endlessly. Days passed in a haze of whispered phone calls, secret meetings, and coded messages. At the office, the elite who had once sneered at her now kept their distance, eyes flickering with something between fear and contempt. Maya's transformation from a meek assistant to a woman armed with dangerous knowledge was already unsettling them. But inside, Maya was unraveling. Her marriage, once a fragile lie, was now a battleground of deceit. Her husband, Damien, had always hidden behind charm, but the cracks in his mask were now impossible to ignore. She found herself sneaking into the building's parking garage late one night, following a lead Alexander had given her. A mysterious exchange between Damien and a stranger. From the shadows, she watched as her husband handed over a thick envelope. "What's in there?" she whispered to herself. Suddenly a hand grabbed her arm, spinning her around. "Shouldn't be snooping, Maya." Damien's voice was icy, controlled, but with a dangerous edge. Her heart pounded, but she stood her ground. "You lied to me. All these years," she said, voice trembling with rage. "Who are you working for?" Damien's eyes narrowed, but before he could answer, a sharp noise echoed, a car door slamming shut. Maya seized the moment and ran. Back at her apartment, Maya dialed Alexander's number, desperate for answers. His voice was calm but urgent. "You're in deeper than you think. They're watching everything you do." "But why me?" Maya pleaded. "What do they want?" "To keep you silent, to keep the truth buried." Suddenly, a crash sounded at her door. Someone was trying to break in. "Get out," Alexander hissed. "Now!" Maya grabbed her keys and fled into the night, adrenaline surging through her veins. The following days were a blur of hiding and plotting. She met Alexander in secret, piecing together the twisted puzzle. a massive financial fraud tied directly to her husband's family fortune and the elite society that had crushed her. Each revelation cut deeper than the last, yet amid the darkness, a fragile trust began to form between Maya and Alexander. He wasn't just the Wall Street king, he was her only ally. But betrayal waited around the corner. One night, Maya returned to her apartment to find it ransacked, papers torn, memories destroyed. On the table, a single card. Stop now, or lose everything. Maya's resolve hardened. They thought they could break her. They were wrong. As the third part closes, Maya faces a new dilemma. Should she confront Damien with what she knows, or protect herself by keeping her secrets buried deeper? Her choice will decide everything. Cliffhanger ending. Maya's phone buzzed once more. This time it was a message from Damien. Meet me. Midnight. The place where it all began. Her breath caught. Was this a trap, or the moment to take back control? The clock struck midnight as Maya stood outside the old warehouse on 57th Street, the very place where she and Damien had first met years ago, before lies tangled their lives like poison ivy. Her phone vibrated in her pocket, a message from Damien. Come alone, it's time to end this. The chill in the air matched the cold knot in her stomach. She wasn't sure if this was a trap or a chance for answers, or both. She stepped inside. The vast space was dimly lit, shadows dancing along the concrete walls. At the center stood Damien, looking worn but unyielding. Maya, he said quietly, I never wanted this to happen. She crossed her arms, her voice steady despite the whirlwind inside her. Why Damien? Why the lies, the betrayal? He hesitated, then sighed. Because I was afraid. Afraid of losing everything, the power, the family legacy. They forced my hand. Maya's eyes searched his face, seeking the man she once loved buried beneath the mask. Who's they? She asked. The elite, the board. They didn't want you to find out the truth about the company, about me. He pulled out a file thick with papers. This proves everything. The fraud, the cover-ups, the money they stole, the lies they told to keep you out. Maya's heart raced as she flipped through the documents, feeling the pieces of the puzzle fall into place. Why show me this now? She whispered. Because I want to make it right. I want you to help me expose them. A long silence stretched. Between them, Maya's mind spun, betrayal and hope colliding like thunder. Why should I trust you? She asked finally. Damien stepped closer, eyes earnest. Because I'm done hiding. Because you deserve better than this. Because I love you. For a moment the past softened, but the scars remained. Maya looked away. Love isn't enough anymore. The next days were a whirlwind of planning and danger. Maya and Damien worked with Alexander to gather evidence and prepare their case. The elite's grip tightened, but so did their resolve. Then came the night of reckoning. At a high-profile gala, the same event where Maya had been humiliated months ago, she stepped onto the stage, documents in hand. The room fell silent as she began to speak, her voice strong and unwavering. She revealed the truth. The fraud, the betrayal, the cover-up. Faces paled. Whispers turned to gasps. Maya wasn't the simple woman they had mocked. She was the storm they had never expected. Behind the scenes, Alexander made his move, using his influence to bring law enforcement and media attention to the scandal. One by one, the powerful fell. And Maya? She finally breathed free. Months later, Maya stood on the balcony of her new office, a symbol of her rise from ashes. Her phone buzzed. A message from Alexander. You did it! You're unstoppable! She smiled. Sometimes losing everything was the only way to find who you really are. The lesson: true strength is born from pain, betrayal, and the courage to fight back. And even when the world mocks your simplicity, your truth and resilience can change everything.